Hello, welcome back everyone, Tony here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up your own WordPress.org website and host it using Microsoft Azure web hosting. So to get started, you're going to go to the Microsoft Azure portal, and to get there to the login page, you can go to portal.azure.com. And once you're there, you just enter your email account. And this one will stay blurred because there's going to be a lot of spam on it, I can already guess. So you log in with either your regular one. So if you're using a personal email account, it takes you over to the sign into Azure site, which looks pretty similar to the Hotmail sign-in site. So you can then sign in, and it'll take you over here to the Azure web portal. So this is where you can set everything up. You guys are wondering what that is. That's actually a plugin called Ghostery. So it takes you over here, and this is called your dashboard. So here you'll have all of the sites and everything you're hosting on Azure, the marketplace for setting up new stuff, the service health that shows you how all Microsoft data centers are doing, help and support, and other apps that you may have added, which I won't necessarily show. So to create a new WordPress.org site, you just go over to New, and you can go to Web plus Mobile, and you should see somewhere along here WordPress. So it'll create a web app. Now, how Azure works is it's kind of a pay-per-use type of policy. So you pay for when your site is online or what you're doing, because you can also host the virtual machines and a whole bunch of other stuff on Microsoft Azure. Now, if you guys can't tell, I'm using Microsoft DreamSpark because I'm a student. So if you're a student, you'll be able to create web apps for free, albeit a limited number. And if you don't want to pay, they actually do have free plans, so you can test the service out. They'll give you a couple some shared storage with shared CPU power, and you can go and play around with it basically. So the first thing you do is give your app a name. Now this is also the URL. Microsoft Azure by default will give you a subdomain from their .azurewebsites.net. So you can enter something like, I don't know, if you want it to be, well, you normally want something that people can find you using. So then you click your subscription. So in my case, that's DreamSpark. If you have a free one, you can select that. If you have a paid subscription, you can choose that too. Next, it's going to ask you for a resource group. Now, you guys can tell, I already have a few, but I'll show you how to make a new one, because that's what'll happen when you start off. So you give your resource group a name. So say WordPress website. Okay. So see how it's good? Oh, spelled correctly. Then you pick an app service plan / location. So you can create a new one. As you guys can tell, I already have a few. So here you enter your app service plan. So let's name it like a WordPress website. Then you can click the arrow on their location, and you have a whole bunch of locations. Now, it's best to pick the one closest to you to get the lowest ping times. So in my case, I'm going to use Canada East. Underneath that, you have a pricing tier. This is what I meant. They offer lots of pricing tiers. So even if you don't have a DreamSpark subscription, you don't even need one. You can use your free subscription to Azure. All the difference is you'll be able to create like a few less web apps. So then from your pricing tier, you have multiple options. So you have free ones, premium, standard, and basic, and shared. So they all give you a Canadian dollars per month estimate at the bottom, and the infrastructure they give you. So in the free plan, you're sharing your infrastructure. That means the CPU power and the RAM power are shared between multiple different free users. So it's all fine unless you need to run like super intensive applications. They also only give you 1 gig of storage. Now you need to keep that in mind if you're going to, I don't know, set up a web server, which you shouldn't in this. That'll require a lot more powerful hosting. But as you guys can see, like upgrading to something like a basic 1 plan would give you 10 gigs of storage, along with 1.75 gigs of dedicated RAM. So, but in our case, let's just use the free one. So we're going to be getting 1 gig of storage. That's plenty. You click OK, and these are all approved. So again, free subscription just at the location to the one close to you. Then it asks you for a database. Now the database is WordPress needs somewhere where it can store all your blog posts, all your users. So you can just create a new one. You can name it, I don't know, whatever you want. By default, it'll want to name it WordPress. I advise against this because if you want to host multiple WordPress websites on the same Azure account, then you'll probably end up hitting a few issues because it'll override each other. So name it something like WordPress test site. The database type will be shared because for your account. Then for your location, you can set the one closest to you again. Now, Microsoft outsources their databases. So in our case, I guess we'll use East US, 1 or 2, I don't know. Then you get your pricing tier. Now, again, as I mentioned, Azure offers everything separately. It's like a pay-as-you-want basis. So actually, your website, the resource group that we just created over here, with the app service plan / location, with the 1 gig of storage, you can actually use that app service plan for not just this one WordPress. You can, so because a free account will give you 1 app service plan. So what you can do is you can actually host multiple different WordPress sites on that 1 app service plan, or you can create new ones for each one, but I think you need a premium account to do that. So you can host multiple WordPress sites on this 1 app service. So then what happens over here is your database is actually separate. So that's for the web apps. Host web apps perfectly fine. But Azure doesn't host your database. It's outsourced. So you have to pick and you have to pay for your database, which is separate, because what Azure allows you to do is you can run a web app. Say you're running an HTML website that you program, and you don't need a database. Perfectly fine, you run that. But say you're using Microsoft Access and you need just a database and no website. Well, then you can get your MySQL database hosted. So it's really flexible in terms of what you can do with it. So in our case for WordPress, we're going to need a web app and a database. So they offer multiple pricing tiers. Mercury is the free one. They give you 0.02 gigs, so 20 megabytes of storage for your database, which is still plenty. Most free options will only give you like 5 megs anyway. 4 total connections, so that'll be 1 for the WordPress site. And 99.95% SLA. As you go up in terms of the plan, you get bigger database storage, but you usually don't need those. So let's just pick the free one. Press select, and then you go to legal terms. Now, again, because this Microsoft is actually outsourcing their MySQL database hosting, because it's offered by ClearDB, so they're actually giving like a free monthly subscription there. So you have to agree to their terms and conditions. I read through it. I recommend you guys who's actually going to read through it. So then you can press OK. So our database is set up. So we can actually just say pin to dashboard. And here we go. Our web app is actually creating. It's a submitting deployment and deploying WordPress. This means that it is now installing WordPress on that web server. Cool stuff. So there it goes, it's installing. And again, while it's going, I might as well show you guys. Azure is really flexible. Like you can do a bunch with it. You can run virtual machines, which will actually charge you per CPU cycle time, I believe. These aren't highlighted because they're actually not included with free plans. You need to pay. You need to get a premium business plan, but they'll love to do it. You can run your regular web apps for HTML websites. You can run just regular storage. You can run SQL databases, MySQL databases. You can create mobile phone apps and like push updates to different phones. You can do a lot with it. Again, this is one option. In another video, I'll probably be showing you guys how to do this with some other hosting. And again, subscriptions are just from subscriptions tab, so you can just create a new one. No, I won't give you guys the ID for this. Okay, so back to the portal. So here we are deploying WordPress. Deploying. It will come. So once it's deployed, if you go under all resources, it'll actually show you everything you're running on your Azure account. And for me, as you guys can tell, I'm running quite a few applications. So you should have your WordPress test site that we created the MySQL database for, because it's running off the database. We have the WordPress test site, the app service plan, and the app service plan is what we created with the free account that is running the web server of this. See, it says pricing tier free, and we selected Canada East, so it's all there. And it'll show your CPU memory percentage of your usage. And since we named our server actually Tony Tasciolu, then from here we actually have a web app. So this is what's actually running the website. So we have resource group, which is a WordPress website. Location is Canada East. And we have the URL for accessing it, which we'll be doing in just a few seconds or minutes. We have the pricing table, and these are cool. This is your FTP host name and your username. So if you wanted to, if you were using not WordPress, but you were using the regular HTML website, say for example, then you could use an FTP application such as FileZilla or WinSCP, your choice. You would enter your deployment username and your host name. Your password is the same password for your Azure account, and that is how you would actually upload your PHP files or your .html or .xml, whatever files you're using, that you would upload those all to the website. So here we can also see the number of requests. That is every time the website is accessed. And we can see this. This is the app insights. So from the app insights, we can see how long it's taking the server to respond and just useful stuff in general. So let's actually now load up and finish setting up WordPress. Again, I'm sorry this was a long overview of what I was doing, but I've been playing around with it over the few weeks, so thought I'd share that. So here we go. It says connecting, and eventually, hopefully eventually, it will connect. Now this is part reason it's taking a while is because one, it's the first time. Second, it's a shared account, so it's sharing the resources for the server with other free users. And finally, it's because we haven't set up any type of caching for the website. So you're first greeted with the install screen for WordPress. So in our case, let's use English United States, because I don't think there's an English Canada. Oh, there is an English Canada. Oh well, whatever. So it says information. So you can enter the site title. In this case, we'll name it test site. The username, I recommend making admin or something that you're not going to forget. The password for it. let's make it like, let's make it password, which is the number 2 most commonly used password. So yeah, don't worry, that's not your password, guys. So you have to confirm use of a weak password because it tells you it's very weak. Your email, so we'll enter my public one. And you can check whether you want search engines to actually index your site. In this case, I'm going to tell it not to because this is a test site, as the name suggests. So it is now installing WordPress. And this is basically like a one-click install. Normally, if you're using traditional hosting, once you had your hosting account set up, you'd have to go download WordPress.org and upload all the setup files to the server using FTP, then go through it. Okay, so it has completed. So we can just press login and it'll log us into the server. So username, we set it to admin. Now this is case sensitive, so you'll want to pay attention. And the password. Hard to spell with one hand because I'm holding the microphone in my other hand. Login. Oh, it says briefly unavailable for scheduled maintenance. This means it's probably updating. And if you are updating your WordPress, it'll actually take you to this. So here we go. We are logged in. First thing, this is your at a glance view. So this shows you can create quick tracks, the posts, comments, pages you have, and if you have incoming comments, very useful for when if you have like lots of comments and you want to quickly reply, you can just click reply to the comments from here. So we can see that there's actually a new update available at the time of filming this, 4.5.2. So you just press please update now, and you can update your WordPress at first, and then it'll also, from the updates tab, which is actually right under the home button under dashboard, you can not only update WordPress but also all of the plugins that you're running, as well as themes and whatever, and basically anything that might need updating. So here we go. It's going to take us to a page where it basically prints out terminal lines telling us that it's going to update. Alrighty, and it has been updated. So here we go. It says welcome to WordPress 4.5.2. So we can go over to dashboard again. And you can see that we're currently running the 2016 theme. So one of the first things you can do is head on over to themes. So these are what we currently have installed. You can go to add new theme. Now, the theme is kind of like the template on basic that determines how your website looks. So if we go over to the popular tab, and this is how you can determine whether you're going to make your site a blog, for which I'd recommend the 2015 theme, or whether you're going to make it like a portfolio site, for which I have used the Azure Light theme quite a few times. And they're one of those whole parallax things, so where you're top, then you can list a whole bunch of stuff. And again, WordPress.org is a really flexible platform, so you can use it to make a portfolio website, you can use it to make an About Me page, you can use it to make an e-commerce site, you can make it into a blog or well, basically whatever you want. Oh, so it's telling us theme install failed. Oh, because that destination folder already exists because I clicked install twice. Not a biggie. The next thing we can do is we can go on over to plugins. And you can see that we have Ask I Met installed, which is really useful. It's basically the spam protector. It's like the anti-spam widget. Then we have Hello Dolly, which you can just go ahead and delete because it's taking up drive space and it's well, 99% useless. Then you can go on over to add new. This is where you have a bunch of plugins that you can install. So again, asking to install. BBPress is forms, basically for your comments. We have a whole bunch of stuff. I recommend WP Super Cache. It does exactly what the name says. You have contact forms, thumbnails, basically stuff that you might need. So I recommend WP Super Cache, and it's, well, just like the name says, it caches the website so that you don't get this whole connecting thing every time you do something. So you can activate the plugin. And there we go. You do have to create an account and a few other things, which you can do from the plugin admin page. But I'll maybe do that in a later video. So getting started with the blog style thing. Over here we have a posts button. You can go to all posts. And you can create a new post. Those are for blogs. You can make new pages. So pages are like the different tabs you can have on the top of your website. Your comment section. Your media for storing pictures. Your appearance. This is where you change site title and how your entire theme looks. Users for different types. So as you can see, we can activate our new theme. Then we can customize it. We have widgets. Widgets are, well, exactly what they say. They're little things you can put into the sidebar of your website, or in this case, between. With this theme, you can put them between. So from your customize, you can change your site identity. That's your logo, your site name. You can change what's in the About Us section from here, our team. So you can change the content. So it's really flexible, and all those fields will depend. If you're not using this theme, of course, you're not going to get all those settings. Users, so you can create different authors and stuff, and your tools are for importing old websites or exporting this one as backups. And from your settings, that's where you can configure your super cache. Now, I do have a few other videos I'd like to make on this topic, so please let me know down in the comments if you guys are interested in this sort of stuff. If you are, there's a good chance I'll be making maybe a more in-depth video about how to use WordPress.org. But that is all for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed making your own website using or setting one up using WordPress.org. So thank you, and I will see you guys all next time.